Hey guys, welcome back. It is game 2 between KratosMana, Anti, and Sparkling Dream, Eden, all the alts, all the good stuff. Standard leads for both of them. Go back and check out game 1 if you've not done so already. It was a tight one, and the big villain of ADV at the moment, the controversial part of the meta, Sandvale, at it again. That aided to an anti-victory. He's got the 1-0 lead coming into this. We have a crunch from T-Tar, and that's going to hit Metagross as it switches in. We see Meta, which took pretty heavy damage here, 44%, does in fact have leftovers. Might as well take a moment here. This is a live narration. We are waiting for one or both of them to select a move, just to remind you guys that we are taking donations and will be all the way throughout the tournament. 100% of your donation goes to the prize pool. I keep literal, actual, zero. None of it goes to me. So if you want to contribute to this tour, if you want to support the player base, support the ADV community, donating to this tour would be a fantastic way to do that, and I will absolutely be sure you get the credit that you deserve in multiple places. So please do consider throwing a little cash money if you have it to spare toward this tour. Both players switch. That's going to be followed up with a Hydro Pump crit here on the incoming Skarm, who of course simply goes for layer number 1 of Spikes. Protect and Sub respectively, but it's Sub Lefties actually, so this is not a traditional End Pert. If it's an End Pert at all for Sunny, it does not have Salic Berry. Sub Lefties, so some creativity coming up from Eden's Embrace on the top side. This is especially interesting because, I, as an experienced player, am not necessarily sure what it is that this pert might have. So certainly for a newer player to this gen, Anti, I'm not sure what he's seeing here, but he makes a great play. He scouts Focus Punch here. This is just what I'm talking about Anti. Even though he's not a super experienced Gen 3 pilot, he's just a really good Pokemon player. That was just a veteran move there. Go to Blissey, suspecting, he probably has Focus Punch with this substitute set. He dangles it out there, he scouts for it, and then he pulls it back to Gengar, completely blanking it. Very, very good play. That's exactly what he should have done. And that's going to get him out of what otherwise seemed like a bit of a pickle here. He shows Giga Drain. Swampert now knows he means business, and Sunny's really going to have no choice here but to get out of the way. So yeah, the Gengar took half damage there, so definitely some damage was done. Also, the Swampert did get a crit on the Skarm. That also matters, but Crisis has been at least temporarily averted. Anti did what he could do, seemingly with not too many better options to get himself out of what was a pretty tough situation early on. Sunny is going to have to switch here, and he's taking his timer to figure out what it's going to be. Question is, does Anti go for Giga Drain again? Because Swampert is clearly switching. No doubt about that. So there's certainly an argument to be made that Anti should switch as well. Clicking Giga Drain again doesn't seem that great when Zapdos or Meta or Blissey or whatever very well may come in here. Yeah, I like that a lot better. He's going to go for Will-O-Wisp on the switch. Nice generic catch-all that would have hit basically anything that would come in. I say basically because, yes, you could randomly hit a Guts Pokemon or a Moltres or what have you, but for the most part, Will-O-Wisp is a very safe option there. So again, I like that play from Anti. He seems to really be comfortable with what he's doing, and he's just making experienced tour veteran plays that I would expect from him. Swampert here is going to come in. It's going to step on Spikes, and I would think, based on what this set seems to be, we've seen 3 of the 4 moves, I would think that he's EV'd to be faster than Blissey, and that his subs cannot be broken by Seismic Tosses, would be my guess. So even if Blissey had stayed in there and gone for S-Toss, either the Swampert would be slower and get the sub after, or it would be faster and have its sub be too big to be broken. But either way, I can't see how Blissey would win that matchup. Skarmory is going to hang on by the skin of its teeth, 1% after eating another Hydro Pump. But that's all it needs. It gets the roar off, and again, the Crisis temporarily averted as the Swampert gets blown out. Still just the 1 layer of Spikes down. Celebi for Eden on the top. 2 unrevealed pokes for both guys. Looks like a fairly standard TSS for Anti, which, Anti's got to be so unpredictable for multiple reasons. Not only because he's new to the tier, but look at the team that he brought in Game 1. Nobody, no matter how experienced they are in the tier, could have predicted that team from Anti in Game 1. Surprise value is great in these tours, and especially when it's just a a new to the tier, relatively unproven in the tier opponent, they could have absolutely anything. So, I mean, it looks like just standard TSS. You would think the last pokes for Anti are just Swampert plus X, where X is one of Aerodactyl, Starmie, Dugtrio, Metagross. That's what I would think here, but you just really never know. Certainly, he made a nice choice in Game 1 by bringing something really weird to just solidify that image of I can play fucking anything, even though right now he could be playing the most bog standard of ADV teams out there, a team that every ADV player has in their builder. Sunny, on the other hand, less clear. It looks like he should have a Magneton in the back somewhere. That makes a lot of sense to me. This is looking like a mid-range balancy team here for Sunny. Maybe slightly on the offensive side, but this certainly qualifies as a balanced team, I would think. He's going to go Giga Drain here. I don't know. I guess he was anticipating the T-Tar to stay in. It did not, and Zapdos here is going to take it pretty well. So Celebi at +1, as it was from before. We still don't know if it can actually pass that boost. Leech Seed, Combine, Giga Drain is what we've seen. We don't know the last move. It could be Baton Pass, but I mean, it could easily also just be... I mean, I doubt it's Recover because he has Giga Drain. I think he would have favored HP Grass in that case, so I actually think it doesn't have Recover. I think it's probably either HP Fire is my #1 candidate. What else could it be? I mean, I guess it could just be Psychic, but I think HP Fire is actually probably what it is. Because if he doesn't have a Magneton in the back, which I'm actually now starting to think that he doesn't, I think it's one of those teams that actually just hits Skarm from all the other pokes. They can all just do it independently, so he doesn't need a Mag. So I think it's Thunderbolt from Zapdos. I think it might be a mixed meta based on how poorly it took the Crunch earlier. Swampert with its Hydro Pumps and Focus Punches can get it for decent damage. Celebi, I think, like I said, last move could be HP Fire. Might be that kind of team. So Zapdos from KratosMana, so certainly the last poke just has to be Swampert from Anti, right? I mean, I guess it could be Claydol. That just seems uber loose. That seems way too Tyranitar weak, in my opinion. So I think it basically just has to be Swampert because he needs a Rock Resist, so it can't just be Kuhn or Milo. And, I mean, something like Claydol is just not good enough, I think, as a T-Tar check. It could maybe, if this is like a pseudo-Superman team from KratosMana, it could be Flygon, I guess, but I would strongly favor Swampert in this situation. But it is certainly one of those two pokes, I would think. Flygon or Swampert, with Pert being more likely. Still not so clear on what the last two are for Eden. He's going to go Focus Punch here, and he's going to get called on it. Not completely, though. Anti made the middle ground play. Had he gone Giga Drain there, that obviously would have devastated the Swampert. So they both took a risk. Mana did not Soul Read Sunny there, like I said, or he would have gone for Giga Drain. But he was trying to cover both the Celebi and, more importantly, the Zapdos coming in there, which is why he went for the Ice Punch. Now Meta comes in thinking now it's going to be Giga Drain, but now KratosMana makes a great play. Instead of Giga Draining into the meta, which would have done absolute dick, he goes for Will-O-Wisp and gets the burn. Now, like I said, we haven't seen a damn thing other than lefties, but I have the fleeting suspicion here that this is actually a special or a mixed meta from Eden. I think this might actually be a Pursuit meta. Certainly, I think it has special attacks. I don't know if it has Pursuit or not, but HP Fire, Psychic, that kind of thing, I definitely think it's got at least a couple of special attacks. Whether or not I'm right, yet to be seen, and whether or not Anti has that same feeling, also yet to be seen. But I would be nervous if I'm him about a potential Pursuit here. And indeed, if Gengar switches out with Pursuit, it is effectively dead. It will either die to the damage outright, or it'll die the next time it's in with the sand. And he seems conflicted here. He's trying to figure out what to do. He might be running calcs about whether or not he can kill it with Thunderbolt, but this is a hard turn for Anti. If indeed there is a Pursuit over there and or a Psychic, he's got to get this turn right. And he might be resigned to just staying in and attacking. This might just be, if he even has Thunderbolt. I mean, certainly he would Fire Punch here if he had it, but I don't think he does. It might just be a Thunderbolt turn here from Gengar. He might be resigned to it. I don't think you can go too far wrong. If you Thunderbolt and don't kill, the meta should just die to the burn. And it is a mixed meta, like I said, but it is not Pursuit. It may or may not have Pursuit, but he didn't go for it. It's a Thunder Punch there, and that's going to take out the very, very weak Skarm, who did its job. He got a Lair down. He phased out the Swampert. Good enough. We've got ourselves a 6-5. That is the first knockout of the game. Still the 2 unrevealeds for Eden on the top, and 1 for Ante on the bottom. Zapdos here definitely can kill the Metagross from 37% with a Stab Thunderbolt. Of course, there is the Swampert that is immune, but the Zapdos may or may not have HP Grass. We don't know. We've only seen Drill Peck and Roar, but this is a pretty clear Thunderbolt turn, I would say. And especially if he has HP Grass, there's no drawback, because even if the Swampert were to come in, you could simply follow up with that. If you don't have HP Grass, you could Roar here, but you're just begging for the Metagross to blow up on you. I think you should simply click Thunderbolt here. And it is Eden taking the time here, figuring out what to do. I like the pace of play here for both of them. I like how this is not just one of those clicker sets where it's basically just a ladder game and it's go, go, go. They're both utilizing their clock. They're both taking time on critical turns, and I absolutely have an appreciation for that. I am not in the camp, as many of you guys are, where you just want to see click, 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 go, go, go. And a nice read for Eden. The last poke, which is in fact Swampert, comes in. Immediate HP Grass there from Tyranitar. Nails him for 57%. And Eden is in the driver's seat. KratosMana now has to respond to this. He will not live another Hidden Power Grass. So he has to figure out what to do about this Tyranitar. There's Protect. He's trying to get out of range. This is risky business here. Swampert has lefties, T-Tar doesn't, so we also don't know who's faster here. That makes it that much more nerve-wracking. May or may not live another Hidden Power now. He took 57% before, and he's at 55, so we know that it certainly can kill. What the roll is unclear, but it absolutely can kill him here. Hell, maybe it's a guaranteed kill. We don't know. Maybe it's close to 50-50. Maybe it's 75-25. I don't know the calc, but he's got to be real careful here. Here comes Bliss, and there is Hidden Power, 7%. You know, that sounds about right. Does Tyranitar have a physical move here? And if he does he even want to use it? Does he want to go, oh, he's a DD Grass Tar. That changes things. Sunny's going to try to set up, so he's going to be DD Lum, I think. And he's going to be DD, presumably Rock Slide, Earthquake, and that HP Grass. And this looks like a very dangerous Pokemon against Ante here. This has a very high percentage chance to sweep. This is very well set up by Eden. Ante doesn't seem to have any response to this. Swampert typically the counter to Tyranitar, but DD HP Grass when he already has the +1/+1. This is very, very dangerous. I think Sunny's about to send us to a Game 3. KratosMana is going to have to find an answer to this, and I don't know that he has one. It would take some pretty swift maneuvering here, and I think it's Lumberry as well, so Sunny has really covered all the bases here. He can't even really get out of this with like a Thunder Wave from Bliss or something like that. Swampert makes its return appearance. It should theoretically be out of HP Grass range here, depending on what the roll was to begin with, but it did 57 before. He's now at 62, so he certainly has a chance to live this. Gonna go for Protect anyway, and there's Rock Slide, fishing for a flinch. Can Eden not kill it? Perhaps he thinks he can't, even at +2. He doesn't think Earthquake's good enough. Is he going to go for HP Grass and get his Cheetar killed? It looked like this Cheetar had a chance to sweep. Maybe had he Dragon Dance there, but it's easy to say in hindsight now that we know it was Protect. Obviously, you don't want to Dragon Dance into a Surf or whatever, or an Earthquake or whatever it may be. Going for the Rock Slide, flinch again, and does not get it. He does get a crit, but the Hydro Pump, despite imperfect accuracy and the flinch chance, is going to connect. Here's Last Poke Salamence from Eden. This also has a decent shot to get it done here. If this is DD meant, not that he could DD on this turn, this has a decent shot to clean it up. That's Hidden Power. We know it's HP Flying, not HP Grass, because that would have been super effective there. So this DD ment's very dangerous now. +1, it can easily kill the Zapdos with Rock Slide. T-Tower would not live at +1. Blissey may or may not, depending on the spread. If she's modest, she might not survive. And then Gengar obviously can be and usually is faster, so that can at least come in and scare away the Salamence now. But if the Salamence ever does get a Dragon Dance off and live to tell the tale, this Mence will clean the game. And both players taking their timer. Like I said, Ante down to under a minute, and Eden was down to 20 seconds not too long ago. Got it back up to 30, but both these guys cutting it close. This is a pretty tense game, too, keeping in mind that it's a best of 3 and that Ante did win game 1. Should Ante win here, it's over. Should Sunny win here, which I think he has a decent shot to do, we will be off to a game 3 to decide it. First things first, Gengar going to come in, scare away the Salamence. We see from the sand, Gengar is in fact faster as it tends to be. That should at least avert the Salamence for now. I don't know, this Gengar is really dangerous too. Oh, he's going to live the Ice Punch. It's a bulky DD Mence. He's going to live the Ice Punch and get the Dragon Dance off. Well, that's bad news bears for Ante. Maybe now he's wishing he had gone for Will-O-Wisp. Well, shit, I think most players would have just clicked Ice Punch there, as Ante did. But that turns out to maybe not be the right play, because now I think the Salamence has a good shot to clean it up. Now, granted, because he is so bulky, maybe he's actually not able to kill the Blissey, but he is certainly, from this position, able to kill absolutely everything else. So best case scenario, 4 mana here, he's going to have to give up a poke and take heavy damage on the Blissey just to survive this. That looks like what we're looking at here. Ante down to 5 seconds, trying not to time out. And going to Blissey there, I think he just punted. I think that was a panic play with 5 seconds left. I think Ante is now dead. I do not think he should have gone to the Blissey there. I think his only hope was to let something die and then to go to the Blissey and deal with it that way. I guess he thinks this T-Tar can live, and he's right. It lives at 2%. There's the crunch knockout. But yeah, timer absolutely a factor in this game. He got down to 5 seconds and needed to make a play before simply losing via timeout. This is the beauty and the tension of live narrating these games. In a replay, you would not see just how close these players are coming to losing to the timer. This is very, very tight. It's interesting that Ante decided to play it this way. It might actually be the right line, because this way he preserves the Gengar, and that is a decent shot to clean up here. So just, I mean, Ante playing out of his fucking mind. He's so highly regarded as a pilot. And this is such a great example why. Here I am, a far more experienced ADV player than he is, and he's making plays that are better than the ones that I, as a third-party analyst, am suggesting. This guy's just really, really good. He's on the ball, and he has maneuvered himself somehow, I mean, just through great piloting, into what seems like a favorable position. The T-Tar looked like it was going to sweep him. The Salamence looked like it was going to sweep him. And Ante is just doing everything right and avoiding that. So it's now only the Zapdos and the Swampert remaining for Eden. Eden's got to be wondering how he hasn't won this game already. And I'm wondering the same thing. Just superb play from Ante, looking very, very comfortable in his CALLOUS Invitational debut. Gengar cannot kill the Zapdos from here. Obviously can kill the Swampert with Giga Drain. Interesting that he goes for Boom here. Did he just fuck himself? Man, the turns, this is just a back and forth game. The turns keep on coming. Now we have Zap on Zap. There's Thunderbolt. There's Thunderbolt back. And it's only going to be T-Tar against Zap now. But that's going to be good enough, just barely. Zapdos is going to hang in there and get the Thunderbolt off, and KratosMana is going to go down. That was a wild, wild game. One of the best of the tournament so far. It was unclear who was going to win. I wonder at the end, because I'm narrating this in real time, it's hard to say. Certainly the explosion you can question in hindsight. But I wonder... Yeah, Ante actually might have fucked up that late game. Man, I don't want to miss the third game. But I wonder if he doesn't go explosion, what if he just sacrifices Tyranitar there, then he goes to Zapdos, gets a Thunderbolt off on the opposing Zapdos, and then cleans up with a Gar. The problem with that is that the Zapdos could have been met by the Swampert. If the Zapdos for Ante doesn't have HP Grass, that gets a little trickier. But even then, I mean, maybe he does just Drill Peck it and let the Gengar clean up. I don't know. I think the explosion was loose. And then also... on that second to last turn, on this very final sequence here, I wonder if, let me just go to the replay here and just skip very far ahead. What if on, man, I don't want to miss it. What if on, oh, I went too far. What if on this turn, next turn rather, yeah, so I don't like the explosion, but even once he's in this position, what if right here, instead of accepting this, what if he had just right here gone to the T-Tower, let that die, get the additional turn of burn off on the Zapdos, then go back to his own Zapdos? I wonder if that would have been better. So instead of staying in and Thunderbolting here, what if you go to your own T-Tower, let the burn happen, then go to your own Zapdos? I don't know if that would have changed anything. But yeah, the late game there was interesting. I don't know. Like I said, he may have punted there by going for that explosion. It's definitely, I'd love to rewatch that one when I have more time, but I don't want to miss Game 3. This is live. They could be starting at any moment, so I'll cut the video off. And a very exciting climactic Game 3 going to be coming up next. Definitely let me know what you think about that game. Super, super close. The closest game of the tour so far. I'll see you guys in Game 3.